Hello, friends. Welcome to our spooky candy bark class today. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Megan Faulkner Brown, and I have partnered with American Crafts to bring a line of just all the fun things to food crafting to Michael's. So excited to be here. Just a tiny little background on me before we get started, just so you can kind of maybe make sense as to why I'm here teaching the class today. But about 12 years ago, I started a little bakery out of my basement kitchen. And it was just something I've always loved to play in the kitchen. I'm the youngest of 5 children, which meant there was a lot of cooking and baking and treating and snacking going on in my home. And my mom just taught me to be confident and comfortable in the kitchen. And it really became a creative outlet for me. And so through the years, I just started dabbling in cake decorating and catering and just doing events and all these different things. And then, in 2006, actually, I started making stuff out of my home and selling it locally. And it kind of snowballed. And all these years later, we have several retail bakeries here regionally in Utah. I've had the opportunity to appear on Cupcake Wars and sold our products nationwide and different retail outlets. And again, just super excited to be here with Michael's. I grew up as a little girl walking the halls and aisles of Michael's, just oohing and aahing and thinking of all the fun creative things I could do with the things that are there. So it's really like a dream come true to see some of my products on the shelves, because I just consider myself a hobbyist, a home baker, just hopefully like all of you. So thank you for being here. And we are going to talk today about this fun, spooky candy bark. So you can see, I can hold these up. Yeah. Okay. So right now on Michael's websites and in some of your local Michael stores, let's see which way we need to, okay. Yes, we can. There's no glare at the moment. We have some of these bark kits, and what you'll see is there are different candies and sprinkles and just little inclusions that we will use to make some really fun and easy and quick treats for your upcoming Halloween parties. One thing to note is, again, you can go on the Michael's website and see all of the different products that we have on there under the Sweet Tooth Fairy. And we have these bark kits. We have a sugar cookie decorating kit and a stencil kit. We also have, okay, here we go. Yes. We also have some meltables, and I actually opened all the packages of the meltables, so I don't have any in packaging at the moment, but I will explain to you and show you what they are and what they look like. They are, let's see, here's a bowl of some of the white ones, and you can see they are just, there we go. They're just these, it's a confectionery coating that come in these little drops. Okay, so they're kind of like the size of a quarter, and we have them available in a bunch of different colors. We have more colors coming soon, so you'll have to jump on the Michael's website and see what's available, or visit your local store. But what meltables are, they are, again, they're a confectionery coating. You can melt them, which we'll go over today, and they melt really, really smoothly, and they get to this like semi-liquid state. And that's the state that we'll be using them in. And then you'll see you can put them in the fridge or the freezer, or even just let it sit out for a while, and they'll set up and they'll get like this nice, shiny, smooth finish on them. And they'll set back up to this consistency that is kind of has this really soft little snap to them. They're so good. So what they are, they're sugar, milk solid, vegetable oils, some flavorings and some colorings. And the ones that we have that are looking like chocolate do have cocoa powder in them. So they're so easy to work with. They're so fun to work with. They have a really low margin of error, I think, when working with them. So it's really a fun activity to do, especially with some younger kids. I actually have 6 kiddos, and they range in age from 14 down to 2. So we like to play a lot in the kitchen, and these are so fun for them because, again, you can't really mess them up that much. So, okay, so let's get started. So one of the things that you're going to want to have ready when you are playing with the Meltables is some parchment paper and a sheet pan. I'm using a 1/4 sheet pan. You can use any sheet pan you want. But I'll just show you some of the different techniques and ways that you can use them. And one of the things that I love about Michaels, and just that I love about these different product offerings, is you really can just let your creativity go, right? There's no right or wrong way to do this. In fact, when we were prepping for this class, I kind of was, just had a few things in mind that I was going to do. And then I kind of was walking around my kitchen and pantry and thinking, oh, wait a minute, what if we did this? What if we folded in some of this or that, or spread this way? And so just think outside the box, tap into your creativity, and just have so much fun, because there's a lot of fun and deliciousness to be had. So, okay, let's start. First thing I'm going to show you is just like a super simple technique that we'll use with our kits. And off camera, I have some already melted Meltables. And in order to melt them, one of the things I like to say is get to know your microwave. So I'm in studio, and this microwave is a little different than the microwave in my commercial kitchen and in my home kitchen. And so I like to err on the side of melting them more slowly. And so on the back of the Meltables directions, you'll see it'll say you can start melting them for like an hour, not an hour. Don't do an hour, a minute. Start them. I like to start them at about 30 seconds when I'm melting them. Again, just because I sometimes am not super familiar with the microwaves here, and like at home, I wouldn't want to tell you an exact time and then have you over melt them. And so you just put them in a microwave safe bowl, and you put it in the microwave. And again, I would start at about 30 seconds. You're going to be totally fine if you started at that time. And then you'll take it out, and you'll see that they'll kind of start to melt. I will show you a little bit later when I get to the white, just kind of what they look like. But you'll want to just stir it in between your increments of about 30 seconds. So if you're familiar with these and you already know, no, I can put these in the microwave at a minute or a minute 15 or whatever it is in your microwave, that's awesome. That's great. You just, again, kind of want to err on the side of being a little cautious when you're melting them, and just make sure that they really come together and melt nice and smoothly together. So you'll see this is purple that we made by melting together our red and our blue and some white. So again, I'm not familiar with every color that's available at your local Michaels. So you'll want to check online. We do have a lot of options, but you can mix the colors and make any color you want, which is so great. We definitely have the primary colors available. So you can kind of get any color with using those. So again, this is purple. This was made with our red and blue and white, and it just has a fun, pretty color. You can see that it's melted really well. It's got a nice viscosity. It's smooth. There's no lumps. And this is the texture and the point at which you want to have it when you start working with it. Okay, so I have my sheet pan and I have my parchment paper. The parchment paper is essential, in my opinion, because it means that it's not going to stick to your pan or your dish or whatever it is that you are using to spread out the meltables. So all I'm going to do is take, excuse me, take our liquefied meltables and pour it on our sheet pan. And I'm just going to spread it around. Okay, easy enough, right? Spread. One thing you can do, so you can see it's melted, it's thick, and yet it's runny, like at the same time. One thing I like to do is just take my sheet pan and kind of bang it on the countertop. So you'll get a smooth finish on the top, and then it'll kind of just like evenly distribute the meltables. Okay, so this is where it gets fun with these bark kits. So again, these come with different candies. We have worms, we have eyeballs, there's spiders, there's little skulls, there's traditional jimmies and nonpareils. There's a lot of different things in here that are just like your one-stop shop for making your candy bark. So, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, friends, but all you're going to do at this point is drop or place strategically these things on top of your bark. So look how fun these ginormous eyeballs are. So fun. We've got our jimmies. Can just sprinkle. We've got our little nonpareils, which are like teeny tiny, teensy weensy little round balls. They're so cute. So
hey, Megan, we lost sound.
okay, sorry about that, friends. We had a little technical difficulty with our sound there for a minute. But you can see all I'm doing is just taking the inclusions that are in these bark kits, and I'm just dropping them on to the melted meltables. And all you got to do is just let it set up, put it in the fridge for about 10 or 15 minutes. You can also put it in the freezer, and you'll just let it set and it will harden. And then I'll show you here in a sec how we break it apart and just give you some ideas of how we can use it. Okay, so here's just like super simple. I mean, I think everything we're gonna do today is pretty simple, but this is just like quick, fast, easy. Melt the meltables, sprinkle some stuff on top, and you're good to go. Okay, so thank you, dear. Okay, so next we're gonna show. I'll show you one that I did previously, and then we'll do this together.
Hey, Megan.
Yes.
While you're setting up, they're asking how long does the meltable stay melted before it sets?
So the meltables will stay melted before it sets, I would say, for about like 7 to 10-ish minutes. If it's just like out at room temperature, and if you're still kind of working it together, you'll be able to see, it won't really show it on this right now, but you'll be able to tell in the bowl that you're melting, it'll kind of start to like harden and set up the places where it's the thinnest. And so once that starts to happen, you can still kind of scrape the sides and refold it because the mass of the meltables is still the warmest, like where it's the densest and where there's the most, yeah, like the mass, I guess that's the right word. But then if it starts to harden, you can just pop it in the microwave for another 15, 30 seconds and just give it a good mix. And it should be right back to the same consistency that it was when you initially set it. That's what's so, one of the wonderful things about the meltables is they're really, really forgiving. And one of the benefits of them is that, let's say I was done right now with all the treats and I had this leftover meltables, I can just put it in a bag. I can leave it in a bowl. If I have like a silicone bowl or a silicone pan or whatever, so that when it sets up, and it's hard because again, it's going to get back to the same consistency. It's going to set up and it's going to be hard like it was in its just like natural state. So you can reuse it. You can reuse it and you can reuse it, which is awesome, right? Because, you know, you can save it for another day. It really does go kind of far. So it should stay warm again for about, I would say around 10 minutes, especially if you're kind of like actively stirring it. So I hope that answered your question. Great question, by the way. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you is just how to get like a fun swirl technique. So what I've done is I put some of our white meltables into a disposable pastry bag. If you don't have a disposable pastry bag, you can use a Ziploc bag, or if you have like a canvas pastry bag, you can use that as well. And I'm going to pop it in the oven, microwave, not the oven, the microwave. And we're going to put it in there for 30 seconds. I said this last class I taught this. I have yet to figure out how to program this microwave for 30 seconds. So I have to watch it because it only goes to a minute. So I don't want to I don't want to burn them. So I'll keep my eye on this just for about 10 more seconds, and then I will show you how to make the swirl. So you'll see, I'll get this out. It might still be a little bit hard, and then I'll just massage the bag. Give it a nice massage after a long day. So I still feel like a little bit of the clumps, but I can tell that it's melted enough that if I just keep massaging them, that it's going to be nice and smooth. Okay. You'll want to make sure that you, in this initial step of melting them in a bag, you don't want to cut the tip yet, because it's just easier to massage it when it's not going to spill out the top. But if you had cut it, you can just flip it over and massage it with the tied side down of your pastry bag so none of it falls out. Okay, so we have our melted white. I'm going to take some of this purple that we mixed together. I'm going to repeat what we did last time. Just going to pour some of it out onto my parchment paper on my pan. Let's do that so it doesn't. Okay, so I'm spreading it out with a spatula. You can use a spoon. You can use an offset spatula. This is just a rubber spatula that I use if I'm making eggs. You can use whatever. Down like this. Oops. Okay, now I'm going to take my melted bag here. I'm going to cut the tip just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do lines kind of back and forth with the white. Okay, so I'm going to go like this. back and forth, back and forth. They don't have to be straight. You'll see what I'm about to do here in a minute. Okay, now you can take a knife or a toothpick, which is what I'm going to use, and all I'm going to do is going the opposite direction that I just drizzled the white with. I'm going to go vertically and go up and down, up and down. So you'll see it'll pull, the white will kind of pull through the purple, creating this cool effect. So as you're doing this, this is kind of more of like a uniform bunny ears, uniform marbling technique. So even though our lines weren't perfectly straight, you can see if you just go back and forth, it creates this really fun look. So at this stage, if you were happy with how it looked, you can take your sprinkles, you can take your candy, whatever it is, and just put it all along the top. Okay, if you're feeling like this isn't enough swirl in your life and you need a little more, then you can just go back this way and go horizontal, like so. And it just creates another, a little bit more like look of texture in it. The other thing you could do, if you had multiple colors that you wanted to include, you could do, you know, a stripe of, you know, some stripes of white, some stripes of green, orange, whatever it is. And then you can just twirl and just go like this. This is just kind of more, I would say, like a traditional marble where you're just kind of pulling, doing little circles and whatnot. So again, there is literally no right or wrong way to do this. It's just however you want to get creative and whatever look you think is fun. So that's a really, again, like just like a basic way of making the Meltables look super fun and kind of fancy and gourmet, right? If these are in a bowl or kind of like on a pedestal, let me show you some of these that we had done. You have a little, you know, a little Halloween get together or a family dinner or whatnot. You just put these out on a dish or a bowl or a pedestal and they will fly because the Meltables are delicious. And what kid isn't going to go bonkers if they see a sour gummy worm and giant eyeballs on a piece of, you know, chocolate, essentially. So super fun, super, super fun. Okay, next, we're going to get a little crazy, friends. We're going to get a little crazy. Actually, before we put this in the fridge, I'm just going to finish garnishing it. So if there are any questions at this juncture, I'd be happy to take them. If not,
there are no questions at this moment.
Okay, that is totally wonderful. Oh, let me show you one thing. Forgot. Okay, so I can't sing Michael's praises enough because they have all the things for all the anything creative that you would want to do. One of the things that is so fun, there's a lot of different like silicone molds or just plastic candy molds that you can use to use these Meltables and pour them in the molds, specifically made for confectionery coatings like these. So if you happen to not have those, or if you're not close to a Michael's or whatnot, but you have cookie cutters, I will show you how easy it is to make some shaped bark. So this pumpkin cookie cutter is actually available in our JackOLantern cookie decorating kit. And this skull is from my dear friend Callie, who is Sweet Sugar Belle. So I'm going to show you how simple it is to make shapes with these meltables. So I, in my life, have collected lots of things. And one of those things are cookie cutters. And so I have all my cookie cutters like organized by season or by holiday. So at home, you know, I've got ghosts and I have like a Frankenstein head and I have different sizes of pumpkins and just different skulls. I have mummies, just so many different things. So if you had several of them, you could get all of them out. It doesn't matter the size, it doesn't matter the shape. And all you're gonna do is, you get the overhead. Okay, all you're gonna do is place the cookie cutter on the meltables when it's still melted, okay? So imagine if this cookie sheet were significantly larger and I used significantly more meltables, you could see how it could go a lot farther. But we just have these two here today. So all I've done is just placed the cookie cutters on top of the meltables, and I've just pressed them down a little to make sure that they are flat against the pan. So at this point, after I sprinkle on a little bit more of the fun toppings, ooh, should we give our skull some eyeballs? Let's do some eyeballs. Do we want big eyeballs? Let's do some big ones. Perfect. And why don't we give our pumpkin some cute green eyeballs as well? You don't have to, but why not? Okay. So at this point, I'm going to put this inside of the fridge. It's going to set up while I show you some other things. We'll bring it back in, and then I'll show you how they turn out. All right. So next, we have here, this is some of our cocoa meltables. And remember how just a little bit ago I was showing you or telling you how they reset back up. Okay, so this is some meltables that set up inside of a bowl, pastry bag actually inside of a bowl. So you can see it's kind of rounded, but I'm just going to throw it back in here with the remainder of these meltables that aren't melted already. And we're just going to mix it all together. And we're going to fold some stuff inside. We're going to watch the microwave again so I don't burn anything. And again, like I was saying before, these are really fun to play with because if you can look here, we have some just average everyday things that you might stumble across in your pantry. You might stumble across while you're waiting in line at Michael's to check out. We've got some marshmallows. We have some crispy rice cereal. We have some candy coated chocolate. We have some sandwich cookies. We've got all the things. And let's see. So that was only about 30 seconds. And it's definitely going to need to go back in. But again, we'd rather err on the side of not cooking it too much and overdoing it. If that happens, what happens is, and I've done it my fair share of times in my life, don't beat yourself up. It happens to the best of us. So all you're going to do, you're going to add a little bit of vegetable oil. So I'm talking like half a teaspoon to a teaspoon initially. If you add that back in to the meltables, if they happen to like get a little hard, then it'll help restore it to its natural state. It's wonderful. It's great to have that. You don't have to like dump them. Even if like, let's say you totally forgot about them, and sometimes, I don't know if you've experienced this or not, but you'll be using some candy wafers, and then it'll burn, and there will be like, it'll be like burnt toast. There'll be like a little pocket of burnt. And all you're gonna wanna do is you can kind of scoop that out. You can isolate the burnt spot and remove it from the bowl, and then just add a little bit of that vegetable oil, and it should restore it back to this state that's really easy to work with. So let's see. We're stirring, we're stirring. Woo, stirring and stirring and stirring her broom. That's a, it's a Halloween song I learned when I was little. Feels very fitting today because I'm in my awesome witch hat. Feeling very, very festive, friends. Okay, so we've got our melted cocoa flavored Meltables. And so this is some crispy rice cereal. This is, these are just some little mini marshmallows. There's no recipe for this because as you'll see, you can add as little of the crispy rice cereal or the marshmallows as you like. Or before I do it, let me show you one that I had done in preparation for today. So this is some that I'll put it down. Okay. So I use some orange flavoring, or excuse me, not flavoring, some orange Meltables that I had mixed using some red and some yellow and some white. And you're gonna see, I just folded in some of the crispy rice cereal and the marshmallows. And then I put that in the fridge and I let it set up. And then I came back with another color that I just melted, the green. And I put that on top. And then I put some of these gummy spiders and some sprinkles on top. So they're kind of like here, look how good. Oh, could you die? How yummy is that? So they're kind of like a giant crispy rice treat, but like the superhero version of it, because it's got all this yummy Meltables on it. But look, how yum. So good. So you can use any kind of like cereal to fold in. I personally love like honey graham cereal. So good. You could use that. So great. Okay, I need my pan back. So I'm going to move these guys. I'm going to fold in. Okay. So let's say you were like doing a different project. You were using molds. One other thing that I've done is use like ice cube trays, and I have like layered the colors inside of the ice cube trays just to use as like decorations on cakes. Or you could, initially if you spoon in like a tablespoon into the ice cube tray, then you can take